Well, good morning, folks, and also good morning, Lizzy. How are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning, Joan, everybody.
As what we do for those who are new to us, thanks for joining us first off. And this is whether it's the live version or the replay version. We try to start just a smidgen bit early to do some background work. Share it with you. This is not pre-rehearsed. It's not preordained, and it really is from the gut. Lizzy is a right brain persona. She's a life, I guess, a life coach consultant, to put it in a generic sense, with unique specific skills. And when I think of that type of business or industry, I'm thinking of a TV program. You hear the chimes blowing in the wind and the candles lit and the white on white curtains and the guys talking in a soft voice. I'm going to make you a better person. I just don't get it. But she's got a stellar reputation, and she truly believes everybody can benefit from what she offers as part of her profession. I don't get it. I'm a left brain kind of guy, and I'm trying to make some sense of this. So please, if you're either the live version or even the replay version, share your comments, your questions. I need all the help I can get. A reminder, when you look at us either through Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you have to be signed in, of course, to leave a comment. So we would ask that, and please remember to share this with your friends. They might have thoughts and suggestions also. In fact, today's topic I like. This is what our, let me put the tag on here, that we're talking about the issue of how many times have we done this. This is our 18th one. Congratulations. And this is the first topic that's actually made sense to me. And she says, what's your superpower? Now, I'm thinking that I remember Superman and able to leap the tallest building and faster than a speeding bullet. And I wish I could be doing that my entire life. So I am psyched up for this session of where I can find my superpower. So please, Lynn, help take me there.
Um, yeah, I love this topic too because I think that we don't spend enough time thinking about what our superpowers are, and when we actually find out, kind of align with them and we use them to our benefit, we feel energized, we feel fulfilled, we feel like we're validated, and we feel like valued. So I think I think we all have them. We all have those unique qualities about us that make up our superpowers. And I think it's like a perspective. It's a mindset. I think it's like um, a way that enhances like everything that you do. Like
Mm-hmm.
what are those things? And so Joe, what do you think your superpower is?
Well,
I'm sorry.
again, I'm trying to find one. I wish I could get across traffic before the light changes from walk to don't walk. So it's you make it. It's interesting, folks. She makes these statements and these concepts sound intuitive. You just walk in a dark room. You scroll around for the light switch, you flip it up, and there your world is in front of you. So, no, I don't. It's not like I can say what my superpower is. Like I said, I'm looking to get one, and it's I can zoom zigzag across the world. Now, I'm gonna. That's a statement, but I can think of a lot of people who may feel very trapped in where they are and may feel they don't have options. That everything is outside their reach, outside their control, outside their involvement. And I would think, in at minimum, it would be a challenge for that person to even think of having any kind of power, much less a superpower. So I'm kind of lumping on you three or four things at one time. But for me, it's not intuitive. How does phrase it in a question, Joe? Stop rambling. So, do you assume everybody has a superpower option? And if
Yeah.
the answer is yes, how would they go about discovering it?
I think a great way to start is to ask the people around you what they think is what do they see in you? What are the qualities they see in you that they would come to you for? What do you think you're good at?
Hmm.
Start asking yourself those questions. What are some unique qualities about you that you would think about you, and maybe others would say about you? I think
Well,
it's great things for people to do in businesses, in on teams, to
mm-hmm.
people to go around and talk about what they think the other members of the team's superpower is.
Right.
I think it's a fun exercise, and I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody leaves feeling good about themselves, which is again that little bit of positive psychology that I think is is really effective for leaders to have now in business, more so than, I'm going to tell you what to do, and.
Well, does that imply one is then preordained or pre-genetically encoded to have superpowers versus those of us normal people who don't? And I'm going to go back to, and that's, I hate to do multiple choice issues here, but one of our earlier talks was stop complaining. And my counterpoint was, doesn't misery love company though? So who would you have left to talk with if you stop complaining? That's almost a statement. So here's a scenario. Now we're asking people to tell us what our superpowers are, but if we have to ask, is it then based on what people see in us versus we have inside of us? Again, I've got like 4 or 5 bullets on the table here, but
I think it's a combination. I think you can use it as a combination of what people say about you and what you feel about yourself, and and to get honest, really be honest with yourself about all of your strengths and all the things that because we always we tend to focus on weaknesses.
Yeah.
And from going to school to being told no when you were a little kid, many more times than yes. And so I think it's to uncover. Sometimes you have to uncover it because you have it. It's been kind of either you've been told, be seen and not heard, or all the things that we're told as kids that limit us.
Well, that's my point. So maybe for a season farts over puberty, we may or may not have some basis of self-value, if that's what I'm hearing. But what do you take about with a younger person, or maybe not such a younger person whose whole life being... Let me say this differently. I may share this with you. I was in a line to the bank or something eons ago, and there's a mother-daughter in front of us. And the mother was maybe, mid-30s, daughter was maybe 16-ish, 17-ish. And it was the month of June, and the daughter was very proud, wanting to show her mother her report card. And mom's preoccupied with her cigarette, and at some point the daughter kept pushing mom, look at my card, I want you to see it. So finally the mother asked, why? And the girl beamed in saying, well, I got straight A's this academic semester. And the mother, without even looking at her daughter, kind of turned away, said, it doesn't really matter. You'll never get to go to college. You'll just end up getting married and having babies. So how does a young lady like that discover a superpower? Or what she thought was a superpower was squashed by somebody presumably very important in her life. And that's kind of where I'm going on this.
I mean, I think that's a lot of work for that little girl when she gets a little older, in order to not have that limit her, and have her stay focused on the fact that she can excel, and she can break out of the pattern of maybe the cycle of whatever her mother thinks of is possible for her. And so there's a lot of people out there that are going to want to try to squash your dreams and say, you can't be this, you can't, and it makes me think of, there's a story, it makes me think of a lot of stories, but one that just came to mind was this boy who wrote about, he in school, he wrote about wanting to own a horse farm of I forget those Clydesdale horses, and this whole, and he wrote this whole essay about that's what he was going to do, and he got an F on the paper from the teacher. He was in an inner city school. He got an F. He went to the teacher and said, why did you give me an F? I this is what I want to do. This is like my dream. And the guy's like, because that's a pipe dream. You're never gonna. That's not going to be possible for you. And so you have the opportunity to go write a more realistic essay about your life. And he said, the kid said, you know what? I'll keep the F. I'll keep the F and I'll keep my dream.
Nice.
And he ended up, having a horse. Probably wrote a book about it. And it's just so many times I think that happens. We let one person determine what we're going to be, who they think that we're going to be. And that's,
I hear that. Well, let me flip that in the opposite direction then. So that young man was clearly, in my world of experience, an exception.
Yeah.
Now, let's say we have people who don't have a sense of any empowerment, super or otherwise. And they've discovered, perhaps through this medium that we're doing now, that, hey, here's a woman who says, a professional who says, she believes you have it, whether you know it or not. what would be a first baby step you might do for, assuming they
Yeah.
contact you? Of course, you can't go out and kidnap people, but assuming they
Oh,
give you a phone call or email, whatever it may be, what would be your first step with that
well, first,
person?
I think one of the things about one of my superpowers is being highly sensitive, and I think that I see the potential in people. I always have often before they see it in themselves. So that's one thing that I bring to the table. But I also, when I start to work with somebody, one of the first things that we do is they write a list of their successes, things that they've had success in, and they
Now
can.
that's assuming they've had some, because at that
That's
time
because
that
they learn to walk, they learn to
okay,
drive,
that's a good point. I
they
hadn't
have
thought
a
about that.
job, they were able to get a job, or they got made it through high school, or
Okay,
and
well,
then we start to work. We start to look at what are some
well,
qualities.
let me rest on that, because what you said to you is so obvious, and I missed it. And I'm not the dumbest guy in the world. And my point is, if I've missed it, I'm sure a lot of other people have missed those points also. So I don't think that's a fluff over. So it's not the burden on me necessarily to turn the lights, find the light switch and turn it on, because that would be your role. My role would be to walk into that dark room and looking for a light source that you can provide for them. And you share observations about them, as you've indicated, that they didn't think about. And however much or how little it may be. And I think that in itself, it sparked me as a thought consideration. So I could see where that could be an initial first step. Let's do a check off list of where you are in the world at the moment as a
Yeah,
starting
and
point.
what are some? We start with also, it's like a life purpose kind of exercise, but it starts with what are your two unique qualities about you, and so you say what those are, and then you say how do you use them in the world, like how do you express them, those two qualities.
I got to come back on you again on that. I'm part of different networking groups
Mm-hmm.
of different caliber of people, and many of them are owners of their own business. And oftentimes, there's one in particular that will ask, "Tell me your story," which is really asking in a different manner, "Tell me your uniqueness."
Mm-hmm.
And most these business owners say, "I've got nothing to say." Now, if in that context, if you're taking a seasoned person over young 30s or 40s perhaps, who own their own company and say,
Mm-hmm.
"I've got nothing to say," how can I anticipate that a younger person, not with the same track record, can come up with a response to what's your two best qualities?
Mm-hmm.
How does one do that?
I mean, I think again, it's like, wait a minute, let's like let go of, the fact that like we were taught not to brag, that
Hmm.
we're, don't toot your own horn, all those things that we're told, because,
Fair.
let's talk about, the good things. Because
Well, the example of the young man with the book. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Mhm.
Don't think beyond where you are at the moment. So you've just indicated that I would think a certain gender-wise, at least women in particular, are being told, like the mother to her daughter, why would you even think of anything other than the moment? So you would take that person and first let them know you're living, you're breathing, you're walking, you're reasonably healthy, whatever the criteria may be.
Yes, and a lot of times I'll say let's start from like 0 to 18. If say they're young,
Hmm.
let's what are the successes you had from that, from 0 to 18. So start there. Then we go to the next 18 to
So,
25,
so, so it's like going from first gear to second gear in the car, right?
and
to to
just
gain
gets
momentum and
good
speed.
because it gives them an idea, like, oh, wait a minute. Yes, I did learn to walk. I did learn to drive. I did,
Hmm.
all those little things that they don't think of as successes. I got through the first grade. I learned to read.
Hmm.
Maybe I had trouble reading, but I still was able to. I'm a dyslexic, but I still learned.
Right.
And so it's just I think it's really important, and I never, we weren't taught this, but to really, let's focus on our strengths. Let's focus on our good things. That let's not only focus on our weaknesses, which is really, it doesn't get the best out of people, especially in the workplace. And so again, finding people's superpowers and letting them express them, is they're going to feel so much better about showing up wherever they show up, whether it be in relationships or at home or at work.
I hear that.
Well,
Well,
so
I'm going to be honest with you. All I'm hearing at this moment, I'm not going to be able to leap over the next tallest building. Is that what I'm hearing in terms of my
yeah, no,
superpower?
probably not. No, but I mean, It's so interesting because look at all these interesting like athletes, like the long jump and the things that we try to do to defy gravity. All of these, it's like how much can we, and like think about the 4 minute mile. I don't know if you spoke about that. Like that
No.
was supposedly, impossible,
Unbreakable. Yeah. Right.
impossible until it was done, and then it became done and done and done by so many people after. So we do have this ability to do more than we possibly think that we can. If we believe it's possible. Again, that's.
Well, it just hit me, and
Mhm.
I think if we believe, then that would see. I guess that would be your role to help them get to that point. And I've been making this superpower as a physical thing, and it's more a
Mhm.
mental thing. It's an
Yes,
emotional thing, and
yes.
so I likely still I'm struggling with this concept. I want you to know, Lizzie. I may never ever get to leap over the next tallest building physically, but I can understand. I can certainly see in terms of challenges and obstacles where I could do it mentally, emotionally, productively. So,
Absolutely.
is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yes, that if you are solution oriented, everything is figure outable. There is a way through every block, and ask for help if you need it. There's those who can help you. We're none of us are here to do this alone, is what I've said before, and I believe. But think about it. Think about what your superpower is. I mean, like I said, I think mine is that I'm highly sensitive, and I think
Mm-hmm.
also curious. Curiosity is also one of mine. And I think you're very experimental. Like you're experimental. You
Well,
want
I'm sitting here talking with you. Isn't that obvious?
to exactly. Uh-huh.
Right. I think certainly, folks, for those who listen to this particular episode, like each other one we've done, if you feel and you believe and it makes sense what Lizzie is saying, and I kind of get what she's saying, I will never admit yet that it's making total sense to me. Reach out to her. That in the description section, it's the information is there. If you want to share my confusion, reach out to me, and we can maybe answer some questions for you. Anything to
Yeah.
take us, we're past our curfew. Any safe.
I know. Just everyone has unique contributions to make in the world, so do you, and so do you, whoever's listening, and so do I, so does everybody. So, um, you know,
Fair
share them,
enough.
share them with the world, and if and even if you're feeling that that it's not possible, it is possible. It is
Sounds
possible.
sounds good. Thanks, folks, for having joined us. Let's hear your thoughts and input.
Thanks, everybody.